Hi guys, Dan Kohan here with Logan Kohn, a YouTuber and real estate investor, to talk to him about his business and his investment journey. So,
Great to have you. Yep.
yeah, awesome, man. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it, dude. This is really cool. Didn't you originally came to me as you subscribed to my channel, didn't you? And you commented on the video. I think that's how we originally connected.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think it was, I would think I was like watching back one of my videos and I saw yours as a suggestion. I think one on how you bought your first rental property, probably suggestion for my video called How I Bought My First Rental Property. And I just kind of
uh,
went from there. Yeah, yeah.
That's really cool, dude. I've checked him out, and he's like his journey on how he's built his stuff up is strikingly similar to my own. So it intrigued me. I watched a bunch of videos, but great, man. So just out of curiosity, dude, how old are you, man?
Yep. 20, but turning 21 in a couple months. So
That's
I'll
awesome,
be
man.
21 soon.
I'm
Yep.
just 21, and I'm turning 22 in a couple months. So it's super cool to see
Okay.
investing this early. You know,
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
take over the world early, like myself. It's great.
Absolutely.
Um, Awesome. So, man, like tell me your story. Like what got you into, business? What got you into, real estate investing, and like, what's motivated you to take such massive action at that early age?
Yep. Well, I guess money is just always in the blood. Very early age, preteens, like flipping action figures, and then I'm also a magician. So I would stand on the street and do magic for like oncoming people, and make a few dollars there, and doing something and making money in return. Kind of stuck with me for a very very long time. eBay drop shipping, I would do in like middle school and early high school. So money just always was in the blood. Making money, how to make it, how to make more, how to scale up, how to grow, how to get more traffic, more business. That's just always something I was always interested in. I guess around like 10th grade or so, I decided I'm not going to go to college. This
Right.
is exactly what I want to do. I also tried like little stock trading as well, like, middle school, ninth grade, but it's hard to sustain consistent profits.
Yes.
So I started a online marketing business, essentially selling products, selling information like around like 10th grade or 11th grade, and ultimately became very successful with it, very consistent, much more
Really?
consistent than anything I'd ever done. Really the most money I'd ever make at that time, just in my short time on earth. That was going very well. Definitely decided I'm not going to college, just going to keep doing that. But I
Yeah.
was very good with managing it and investing my money and saving it and hoarding every nickel I make, every penny. I just stored it and was really pretty frugal. Little luxuries here and there, couldn't help
Sure.
it, but pretty frugal all around, and was able to save 90 to 100% of my income. Post high school, graduated. Of course, the pandemic hit, and that did shake things up a bit. Definitely took a hit with my income. Probably lost probably close to like 50% of the income, and
Jeez.
that's when I decided I needed to do something. That would take massive action. I had a lot of money saved up, thankfully,
Mm.
just from being so disciplined with it, and that's why I decided to dive right into real estate and start looking at properties, analyzing deals. It had always been something in the back of my mind, watching hours and hours of courses and videos, and I have books on real estate throughout the years. It was just always, I thought, maybe I'll do it 5, 10 years down the road. Who knows? Just when I feel like it, I'll do it. But the pandemic was really like the impetus to get started and dive right into it.
Yeah, I could see how that a blow to your income like that would kind of make you like,
Yeah,
how do I insulate
yeah,
my bottom end? You know. What did that's cool that you say a lot of that stuff, because I'm actually in the e-commerce space. Like I'm my marketing and sales and leadership is
yeah.
kind of my trade right now. And what did you have, like a drop shipping business, or what exactly were you pushing, and or what's your business, if you're still doing it, or what exactly?
Yeah, so I did some drop shipping on the side when I was years ago, much younger, but that's
Yeah.
just little profits here and there.
Yeah.
Just eBay drop shipping. But as far as my main source of
Yeah.
income, basically affiliate marketing, selling products, digital information, grow your email list, how to
Yeah.
make money with email marketing, other forms of social media marketing, things of that nature, affiliate marketing, and I have some of my own products as well as that I sell, courses and things like that.
That's really cool, dude. That's really cool. You know I'm curious to see, you say you're like really frugal and stuff like that. That's kind of how I am. I was just
Yeah.
always brought up like that, and it just allowed me to, rat hole money until some opportunity like this I could take advantage of. But like where did you get that mindset? Was it something that your parents instilled upon you, or was it something like where did that come from? This, like, because a lot of people, it seems like, just it seems to be in a cultural, just American thing. It's just like spend every
Mm,
nickel you make,
of course, for
Lambos,
sure,
and
sure.
just all this silliness. A lot of people don't even have two nickels to scrape together to even
Right.
think about investing.
Absolutely. Now you see the numbers, and
Mhm.
most people can't afford was like a $400 emergency. I think that is.
Exactly.
It's hard to exactly pinpoint. There wasn't necessarily like an abrupt change. It was just always, well, first of all, you're not going to make money just saving in the bank. You have to actually invest
Sure.
your money. I was always into stocks. Like, I mean, what 12, 13-year-old who
Yeah.
saw Wolf of Wall Street, wasn't like, holy shit, I got to
Um,
do something. Got to take some big action right now. I guess being burnt by trying to trade the market led me to do long-term investing, and I just sort of over time said, okay, I have to do a long-term investing plan. That was always just going to be the plan.
yeah.
Real estate probably wouldn't happen for another 5, 10, 15 years if the pandemic didn't happen.
Right.
And the plan was just always was, if you make money, put in the stock market, and then maybe 5, 10 years, depending on how much you make, maybe you'll be a millionaire. Definitely was not brought up rich or anything like that. But that was just the mindset. That is what you have to do in order to create, the life that you want, achieve the freedom that you want. That is just what you have to do. You have no choice, really.
Okay, so like originally spurred on probably by needing money to trade stocks, and then it kind of evolved into the, needing money to invest, and then that just kind of from there just went with that, to sum it down, or
Right. So switching
yeah,
from, well, of course, day trading to swing trading, and then eventually getting into long term investing. And that's what I've always been doing now. Just like the last
right.
2 years is just consistent long term. I haven't done a trade or tried to do a trade in 2 years, but at the time I was, of course, trying to gamble. You could blow up your accounts and run through all your money pretty quickly doing that.
Oh, I can relate. Last year when
Oh
everything
yeah.
bottomed out, I was like, oh, I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah.
be rich, and I hopped in and was just gambling like
Oh
100%.
yeah.
I'm not gonna.
For sure.
There's no answer, but I lost quite a few thousands, trying to gamble.
Oh yeah. It's
But
tough.
yeah, but that's okay. It's just lessons. It's cheap at the time. So
Yeah, and especially we're young, we can afford to do that. Most people cannot, and that's even before the whole Robin Hood craze, which is interesting because I had been in that space years before it became such a popular thing. It's
right.
like the trend, the fad to do. It's in vogue to try to trade money on Robinhood, crypto, all that, and for quite some time now.
No, it's definitely gaining a lot of speed.
Oh yeah,
But so is the other parts of I guess investing as a whole. There's just such a democracy of information now. That there's just a lot of people.
true. Yep, very much
Everything is
democratized.
so much. The accessibility of all these things is so much easier. Um, but that's cool, man. So what is what's your so you have so you're doing your marketing of affiliate marketing and stuff like that as your main income. Is that like just all through your channel mostly? Is your or like your primary traffic mechanism, or do you have other stuff going on like websites or other traffic sources like that you're leveraging?
Mhm. Well, there's the main income. Then of course, YouTube does bring in some money. Some
Sure.
months definitely bigger than other months. That's definitely also a long term thing as well. It takes a very long time to build that up unless you do get some. I hate to use the word lucky, as I'm not a fan of the word lucky.
Yeah.
But unless you get lucky with a viral video, it does take a long time, and you have to be very disciplined with YouTube to build it up into a consistent income. So it's not like I depend on it, but it's nice to have that on the side. Certainly, there's dividend income just from holding stocks. There's dividend income and the rental property now, of course. Throughout the pandemic, I was able to build up like another small little business. It's like an Etsy shop
Okay.
where I sell some items and then some eBay drop shipping on the side. So those are the smallest. And then of course, magic. Of course, I'm a magician as
Right.
well. I don't depend on that income, but it is another income source.
That's yeah. That's real. That's a wide diversity. You got the entrepreneur bug in you for sure.
Thank you, thank you.
So cool. So with the coming back to the investing, like,
Yeah.
obviously, you're sold on real estate investing. Like what was your um when did you like originally start, looking for properties, and like what was your strategy? Like another thing is I noticed that I think you live in Long Island or Manhattan or something like that.
Long Island, yeah, Nassau
Long
County.
Island. Yeah. So like how did you, I know that a lot of people I talk to, they're like, oh my gosh, I live in, LA or New York or
Yeah.
whatever. Like you can't get any return here, So like what was your strategy knowing that and getting into real estate? What was your strategy with your investing with all those
Hmm.
barriers?
Right. Well, probably if you asked me like a year, like probably like over a year ago, I probably would have just said, okay, I'll buy a house and live in it
Yeah.
and just kind of hold it. That might have been my strategy. But then I really started to realize, after really diving into it and reading endless information, whether it be YouTube and groups, forums, there's endless information.
Mhm.
I really started to realize that like the Grant Cardone dogma is rent where you live and buy everything else that you don't
Right.
live in. And I really started to see that and really started to see the potential of cash flow. And of course, all the other benefits of real estate, mortgage pay
Of
down,
course, of course.
appreciation, tax benefits. It was certainly difficult being in Long Island. Obviously, I could, if I wanted to, I could probably buy something out of state, like in Ohio, Pennsylvania, much cheaper, do a property
Right.
manager. But it just wasn't realistic. And I don't even drive. I don't even have a license or a permit, so it just wasn't anything realistic for me. So I started to see, like in Suffolk County, which is the county right next to Nassau, that it was certainly a little bit easier to get into. I had the money, the resources, the wherewithal to actually buy something, but you want to get the maximum cash flow. If you're going to put that much money down, why not get an even better return, less
Right.
down, more return? So in Suffolk County, it's a little bit better, definitely easier for someone to get into it. So it's about like an hour and a half away from me, depending on the location.
Hmm.
And, I started to see some potential in some areas of Suffolk where they're lower income. They're not necessarily bad areas. Like it's
Of
not like they have
course.
high crime. It's not like a very dangerous area. It's just that, lower income, that's just kind of the life that the people live in that area. Not necessarily high crime, a little bit of a higher poverty rate than you want, not as low of a poverty rate in Nassau County,
Hmm.
but definitely easier to get into. So I guess the original plan was going to be to buy something near me, make like a few $100s in cash flow. I
Yeah.
decided to go to Suffolk and buy something. So eventually, after a few offers sent out and looking at some properties, I did finally get something, an offer accepted. As long as the numbers work, the numbers really don't lie.
That's
As long
right.
as you really do your due diligence, as long as the numbers are working and cash flowing for you, it's a good deal. That's the first property. And then right now I'm under contract for my second one, which actually is in Nassau County. Not as high of a return percentage wise,
Yeah.
but still a pretty good deal because it's a duplex, two different units.
Yes.
And then it starts to work out.
Pretty well, probably.
Not terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good getting something in New York for sure. Not too far away. I mean, you want to, seems like you can't, like you said, invest out of state, but I mean, I try to keep my stuff like as
Yeah.
close as possible, just for logistics.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and just but what you have, I think another thing that I've heard is a common issue is like is your financing, like especially with yourself, you don't, it doesn't appear that you have, like a W-2 job or anything like that. You're just,
Hmm.
you have all these different incomes, different businesses and stuff like that, and it can be a bit more difficult to qualify for financing. How did you get financing on your first and then I guess second deal?
Yeah. Well, and it's tough in New York because the taxes are so high. So
Yeah.
that's certainly something to consider. And before we touch into that, unfortunate with New York is that, and I've exhausted all options, it's really, really hard to find. It's very difficult to unlock your equity on an investment property in the state of New York. The no credit union will
Oh,
do it. It's very,
really?
very hard to get a HELOC or refinance on your investment property. But I was able to find actually TD Bank. TD
Okay.
Bank does do, their terms are 75% LTV, but you
Uh-huh.
have to own the property for 1 year. You have to have been holding it for 1 year. So, like the one I currently own, I have to wait until June of 2022 in order to even unlock that equity. So, any New York viewers, TD Bank, or I think PNC Bank might also do the same terms as TD Bank as well, but no credit union will do it. Very hard in New York.
Hmm.
Now, so yeah, as far as self-employment, getting qualified, you have to think about as far as how much you want to show in income, how much you want to pay in taxes. Is it actually worth it to do that? So you could do a DSCR loan where it's a no income check. Those have higher interest rates. That is what I'm actually going to be doing for my second property. For the first one, I did go the conventional route, and I probably would have done the DSCR route at the time
Mhm.
if I known about it, because really on such a cheap property, maybe 1 or 2 percentage points more in interest isn't gonna really kill me.
Right.
So I probably would have done no income check at the time, but at the time I didn't really understand, I didn't really grasp it at the time. So I did conventional, and you have to show 2 years of tax returns. So I didn't have any tax returns at that time. I had to lay out a lot of money. Basically, I did 2 years of tax returns at once, paid all the tax, state in New York is very high, federal and state income taxes,
Uh,
self-employed taxes, and
yeah.
basically just had to pay all those taxes at once in order to provide 2 years of tax returns. So that was definitely a hit, but I still had quite a bit left over just after years and years of saving. I thought it was a good idea at the time, but looking back, I probably would have done no income check just to have that extra leverage and have that extra money left over. That's definitely something it's harder for self-employed people, people that are freelancers, gig workers, to qualify for financing. And that's not just with buying a property, but also renting a property. It could be hard to qualify for even just to
Yeah.
rent a property if you're self-employed. And so just know that there are options out there. There's no income check loans. There's bank statement loans. You just have to really look everywhere and do as much research as you can, and ask other people what they're doing, what scenario that you're that they're in that might help you, and definitely hear their advice and input.
100%, dude. I totally agree, man. Just you got to be real creative with it. Um, what with that in mind, like having to put down a lot of money because like for my first property, I put 20% down, but I definitely could have like, done an FHA 3.5%
Hmm.
because I did the primary residence thing. But like why, what stopped you from like um getting a property maybe like locally or in your
Yeah,
general area that this is more expensive, but you could get in with like an FHA loan and just,
right.
maybe have like break even cash flow or slightly positive, and then, ride that appreciation up or something like that, just so you could have maximum leverage on your first deal.
Right. And that is, so that was going to be my plan for my second property. Looking back, if I really had to do it all over, not that I really regret anything,
Sure.
but if I truly had to change something, I probably would have done that. I probably would have sort of, quote, live in one of the units.
Yeah. Sure.
I wouldn't have slept there. I would have just said that it would have been owner occupied
Sure.
and rent out the other units. I guess the biggest problem, at least near me, is that it seems that maybe you could tell me otherwise, that other locations, more rural areas, they
Hmm.
tend to have all like the triplexes, the fourplexes.
Yes.
Near me, I only found maybe one triplex in all of Long Island currently
Oh,
available, and it's in not such a good area. That is a higher crime area. It's mostly duplexes. So because of that, it is harder to find a cash flowing multifamily deal because there's really only duplexes available. It's non-existent to find a triplex or a fourplex, at least in Long Island, unless you want to go further upper state. So because of that, it's harder to find a cash flowing deal. So it just made sense, I guess, in my mind, to do a single unit that I wasn't going to live in, and just do 20% down. It really wasn't too much of a blow. Could have had more money left over to do what my next deal is,
yeah.
which my next plan was going to be to do that and owner occupied, try to do a 3.5-5% down. Unfortunately, I couldn't really qualify because I didn't show enough income in
Yes.
2019 and 20. So I didn't show enough income. So I wouldn't have actually been able to do 3.5-5% down. In fact, on my current deal that I'm working on, the duplex, I would have had to put down 25% anyways to do owner
Oh,
occupied. So at that point, you might as well just rent out both units right away. There's no point in occupying one of the units if you're going to put 25% down. So I wouldn't have actually qualified anyways.
I see. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you, I know it's like obviously people want to live different lifestyles and stuff like that, but have you ever considered like, getting a like a multi-family or even a house and like living in it and then like renting out the room so you can still cash flow your unit, you know,
Hmm.
even
Yeah,
though,
I wouldn't necessarily want to do that route of,
yeah.
of renting out rooms, and I don't really think there'd be a market for it, and it would just create hassles, and not I guess they're not really meant for that. They really are just each unit is more of a single family as opposed to making it try to work into multiple rooms being rented out and having like a shared kitchen for all those people. It really only makes sense to do. And plus, I don't even, it would be pretty tricky to then use that because you have to show, if you want to, buy additional properties, you want to show your lease. I think it'd be a little bit too difficult to show
Mhm.
multiple rooms rented. It just might not be too stable for lenders
Right.
to show multiple rooms rented. I think they'd rather see that full lease of one of the units being fully rented out.
Yeah, that may be more accurate to like fair market rents and stuff for approval
And
process.
then plus, in addition, the with how expensive rents are on Long Island, it would be hard for that kind of student or shared living to even afford that kind of
Right.
rent, even for a room. It would just make sense for a higher income family, a more wealthy family, to rent out one of the units, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean the rent spreads here in the Midwest are probably tighter than, your rooms and stuff aren't too far off what single like a one bedroom apartment. So I could see but it may be like in those areas, it may be cheaper to live on the college campus or something like that, just as opposed to going out into another, around the area or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, absolutely, dude. That's definitely very insightful. That's especially for people in New York or in big metropolises like that, where the just seems like insane. I mean, property values are up all over the place, but
Oh yeah.
definitely, even more so in it's just like very, very difficult to find cash flowing properties, it seems. Um,
Yeah, definitely. In the city, you're not going to find it unless you buy a massive multi-unit apartment building.
right.
It's just not going to happen in the city. If you do live in New York, definitely look at counties above the city. There are definitely cash flowing properties there, and then Suffolk County, Long Island. Even though just in the last several months, properties have gone up so much that it might even be difficult for those someone my age to afford a property like that if they can at all. Above New York, Long Island, if you're willing to take on a property manager, depending on where you live, it is workable. You just have to, depending on how far you're willing to travel, or if you want to use a property manager. Yeah, you got to get it creative in real estate as far as the financing, location. It does get tough. It's not always going to be the perfect deal or the perfect answer at the time.
Sure, but definitely like having some consistency. I mean, even, not letting those things get in your way. You know what you want.
Yeah,
Have you had any trouble, are you self-managing your properties? Or do you have a property manager?
that first property I own, that will be that is self-managed.
Yeah.
Well, the story with that is that the owner that I bought it from wanted to occupy the unit.
Okay.
After I purchased it from her, that family is currently my tenant right now. So that was
Oh,
pretty lucky on my first deal.
yeah, that's
To
very convenient.
and so we signed a 6 month lease. It's about to expire. Maybe she'll want to extend, maybe not. But either way, I'll still manage it myself. And it's not terribly far. It's an hour away or so. And then the duplex that I'm under contract on right now is actually just 5 minutes away from me. It's very close in the next
Oh,
city. So that doesn't require a property manager either.
yeah, absolutely. I manage my own stuff, and it's, definitely, you'll save a lot more money, but you can, especially this early in the game, I'm very interested in like
Yeah.
learning the business. I want to figure out how to do it. So in the future, when I get somebody, I know if they're doing it right or wrong. But have you had any trouble, like getting, just not having a vehicle or anything, or finding contractors and stuff to work on things, or, just being that far away? Had any issues there, really?
Mhm. Luckily, I'm not necessarily going the route of rehabbing properties just yet. I've
Mhm.
certainly looked into that, but it's also hard to get financing on those properties as well,
Yeah.
unless you want very high interest rates, balloon payments, all that. I'm just not into that kind of field. I want to be pretty stable and sure in the first, at least for the first several properties. But yeah, so as far as that first unit, I've had to have a plumber just go over there, like replace the water heater. It was pretty turnkey. There
Right.
wasn't a ton of work to be done on it. Just basic stuff, really anything any handyman or plumber could take care of. Not too much work there. As far as the one that I am under contract on, going to be closing on maybe the next couple of months, pretty turnkey as well. Luckily, the current tenant, the occupant of the upper unit, is like actually a contractor himself, and it's very
Oh,
handy. So they actually like redid a lot of the unit. I guess they had some sort of agreement with the
yeah.
current owner where, if we repair and renovate some of the stuff, you'll keep our rent down. That might be the agreement. It's pretty turnkey. There's really nothing else to be done there. Maybe just minor little leak or here and there.
Okay. That's really nice. Yeah, both of my properties have been pretty ready to go. A few things needed to be done, but nothing major like you kind of experienced.
Yeah.
How did you find these deals? MLS, or where did you find them?
Yeah, all MLS. Certainly I've looked up, looking to buy from wholesalers, but could get a little sketchy and you never
Sure.
really know, they could be hiding things from you. So all MLS. And certainly I've had to look at, a handful of properties before moving forward with the current ones that I have. I've definitely looked at a handful of properties. And yeah, even on the MLS, some things are not disclosed to you. Sometimes the listing agent or even the current owner doesn't tell. There's certainly discrepancies there. So that's why it's so important to go in with an inspector, so that way they know and they can tell. I'm not really a handyman by any means. Certainly, I could hammer things and screw things in, but I'm really not
Yeah.
a handyman, or I know nothing really about HVAC or plumbing or the foundation, at least just by looking at it. So definitely important to go in there with an inspector, spend that money. It might be a lot of money, but spend that money on the inspector, because you really could be digging yourself into a hole and might not be able to get out of that deal, and you might be really stuck in a situation you don't want to be. So it's so important to go through that unit, go in person with that inspector, with the agent, ask questions. If there's tenants living there, ask the tenants how they like it. How's the current owner? Is there anything that needs to be fixed? Anything that needs to be done? Definitely do your due diligence.
100%. Yeah, it seems like if you just doing your due diligence and screening everything right will eliminate 99% of your problems on the back end. Um, just spending that $500 to get an inspection is definitely
Yep.
worth it a lot more than the unexpected,
Oh yeah.
cracks in the foundation and everything that come up later once you already own it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Well, that's awesome, man. What is your long-term, goals with your real estate investing? Do you just kind of want to like have a few units, or do you want to, go for the moon, or what's your strategy there?
Yep. Definitely try to go for as many units as possible. It might not happen on Long Island. It might happen out of state.
Sure.
depending on what's available at the time and the kind of financing that I can do and whatever reserves I have. But definitely shoot for the moon, as many units as possible. Grant Cardone level, right?
100%, man.
Oh
Build the
yeah. Oh
empire.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
10x,
trying to get
10x.
10x, baby. Trying to get a
Oh
thousand
yeah.
units by
Hell yeah.
30. That's my goal, dude. Let's do it.
1,000. Well, depending on the cash flow, yeah. I mean, I could settle on like 100.
A
What I'm
hundred.
cash flowing now, I could settle on 100 units, but I know definitely as many as possible. And that might mean selling some of my current properties
Yeah.
that I have within the next few years and scaling up into larger, ideally, an apartment building, something of that nature. It really isn't as hard as some people might think. Originally, 10 years ago, I was a little kid. I was like buying a house. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. I never
Right.
even thought it'd be possible in a trillion years to ever buy a house. It was just so intimidating as a little kid. But
Right.
it really isn't terribly different. It's the same numbers. You're really looking at the same PITI, principal, interest, tax, insurance. You're looking at the management. It's just more units. It really is, but it's really the same numbers. And as long as the numbers work up to that goal, it is truly
Yeah.
possible.
Oh, 100%. I remember the first one that I bought, my duplex, was definitely like a not like a nail biting experience, but anything you do the
Yeah.
first time, it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
there's just a lot of tension
Oh yeah.
from the uncertainty. But man, my second property that I bought this summer, man, I was just like I didn't even blink. It was just like
Yep.
I knew it was gonna work, and I just knew everything about it, and I just like this wasn't even a stress on my mind.
Awesome.
But
Awesome.
but yeah, man. Just to finish off, what would be one thing that you would tell your older self or your younger self, or somebody that was just getting into real estate? What would you give them as a one piece of advice?
Mhm. Well, I probably would have started younger, but I don't
Mm.
even think I could have started younger because building up your credit scores is so important. Got my first credit card at 18 and started building credit right away. I guess my only regret is not starting sooner, but I don't think I could have even started sooner. For someone young like us, build up your credit. Don't buy luxuries and try to keep up with the Joneses. It's so important to save your money and stash that money. No matter, even if you don't even get into real estate, just investing your money and saving it is so important. Your future self will thank you for doing that. So being disciplined with your money, not necessarily listening to what your peers are doing
Yeah.
and buying into society that you must go to college and must get a formal education with so much information online and so
Hmm.
much information at our fingertips. Like the fact that our smartphones are actually more powerful than a rocket. It's a
That's
scientific
true.
fact, actually. So many different ways to connect with other people.
Right.
No matter what you want to do, no matter what field you want to go into, our generation has such the advantage that we can connect with those people and learn so much right in front of us without having to, even think about buying a degree. Always thinking bigger, thinking much bigger
Yeah.
than you could possibly think. Looking at the next step, the next level. There's always going to be someone richer than you, always someone that has more than you. Don't let that get you down. Don't compare yourself, your situation to other people's. Just stick to your own guns and stick to your gut, follow your path, and don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20.
100%.
And so, definitely those pointers are important.
That's awesome, man. It was a pleasure meeting you. Pleasure talking to you. Where can folks go and connect with you or see your content?
For sure, for sure. So I'm mainly active on Instagram and YouTube. Instagram, Logan Kohn, LOGANKOHN. And then YouTube is just the same name, LOGANKOHN. That's my channel name. And both of those platforms, I'm always posting new content and connecting with people. Always more content to come on different various topics. So hopefully you'll find something that you're interested in.
100%, dude. That's cool. Well, guys, go check him out in the link in the description below. Subscribe to his channel and connect with his Instagram, and we'll go from there, man. And with that, guys, hit this video with a like, subscribe to both of our channels, and
Yes, sir.
we will see you guys in the next chapter.